a great question. I hadn't really thought about that one. I I questioned where they got their morals. Um, I had this idea that non-believers just wanted to live a life of sin and getting drunk and sleeping around and just have this really immoral life, um, and that they just were rebellious against God and had never really studied the truth and the way. So, but from a moral aspect, I think that was the biggest deal. How did I pursue truth objectively? I don't think anyone can be 100% objective. I think everybody's going to lean one way or another. One thing I did is I did. I basically quit going to church, um, kind of detached myself from Bible studies and praise and worship and reading spiritual books, mainly because I didn't want that to influence what I was studying. I wanted to view both sides as honestly as I could. I wanted to look at both sides of the fence. And I was scared that if I continued to go to church and do all the praise and worship and this and that would influence my emotions and influence me, and that I wouldn't get a proper um, view of the truth. I was looking for more data than emotional. If someone accused me that I had already made up my mind and that's why I left the church, I've actually had some people say that to me. Um, I think that is more of a detraction for them. I think the Christians who have said that to me are more scared that I've made this decision. I think it's safer for them just to say that. But how do they know what was going on in my heart? How did they know what was going on in my head? They don't. That's like them telling me that I'm not hungry when I am. They don't know. It's like me telling them how they feel, that they're tired, that they're hungry. But again, I think more than anything, it's just kind of a distraction for them. The different reactions that I've experienced from my Christian friends, I've had positive and negative. Most of my Christian friends um, said the typical Christian response, telling we still love you, we care for you, so sorry you had to go through this process and this and that. But the interesting thing is after saying that, they slowly disappeared. Um, my phone doesn't ring very often anymore. Um, Phone calls aren't returned as quickly or at all. Um, and the worst case was my best friend of 25 years. He was the first person I told, and he said some extremely hurtful things to me the day I told him. It was a big bomb, and I just kind of let him take his frustration and anger and hurt out on me like a little child throwing a temper tantrum. I wasn't going to ask for or even require an apology, but the problem is that continued for months, and he continued to speak to me in a very hurtful manner and a very angry tone, and he liked to kind of start debates with me. Um, and next thing I know, we're in the middle of a debate, and I know both sides, and I basically would speak circles around him, and he would get frustrated and take off like a upset little kid and pick up his toys and go home. And one time that happened at the end of August, excuse me, at the end of July of 2010, and he didn't return my phone calls for about 4 months. And so, right around November of 2010, we kind of started talking again on the phone, playing phone tag, trying to hook up for a beer. or lunch, and we finally hooked up January 14th, 2011. First time I'd seen him in, what, 6 months? And it was really awkward at first. We were at Chili's and just having a beer, hanging out, mostly talking about work stuff. All of a sudden, his tone changed, and he got right into the whole religion aspect and not understanding, why I had changed. And he kept on saying I was a different person, and that I was mocking him by saying some of the things I said about God, and the atrocities, and other items. And he kept on saying that I had changed and I wasn't the same person. And all while he's saying this, he's saying it in a very angry tone. Then he looks at me and he says, "Roscoe, I can't believe I cried on your shoulder all these years. I can't believe I shared my heart with you the way I did all these years. I can't believe I shared my family with you all these years. I can't believe I had opened up all my secrets to you all these years." And I stopped and I looked at him. I said, "What are you trying to say?" He kind of reiterated what he said, and he threw in some new "I can't believes. Can't believe this. I can't believe that." So I stopped, said his name, and I said, "What are you trying to say? That you regret our friendship?" And he looked at me and he said, "Yes. For 25 years, my best friend, I was the best man in his wedding. He was the best man of mine. His 2 little girls call me Uncle Roscoe." And he sat there and he told me he regretted our friendship. Part of me wanted to hit him. Part of me wanted to pour my beer on him. Part of me wanted to cuss him out. And I knew I couldn't do those things. And by that time, tears were welling up. And I just stood up and I walked away. I hadn't talked to him since. Hadn't heard from him. And I hadn't called him. Right now, my heart's just too hurt. It's too raw. It's too painful to be around him. So who knows if we'll be friends again, but right now I need to set up boundaries and stay away. He's hurt me way too long. I need to put up boundaries and stay away from him for now, but maybe someday we'll be friends. But that was the worst case scenario. I have had a few friends who were, on a lighter note, who have stuck by my side and who have been very cool and who still talk to me. And I had a few people react. They called me up out of the blue, hadn't talked to them forever, wanted to go grab a beer with me or lunch. They wanted to hear my deconversion story, and then they disappeared like, just like I never knew them, just gone. I kind of equate that to somebody driving by and wanting to see a car wreck. They slowed down just enough to get the story, and then they're gone. So I've had a whole lot of different reactions, but for the most part, my phone doesn't ring as much anymore. And I've lost my best friend. Check.
What?
I just moved the camera.
That's okay.
Your camera. Okay.
Let me say that again before you came out. Well, yeah.
Is that on there?
It's in black, but we can.
Oh.